All right. Wow, I need a haircut. Holy crap, man. Jeez. Got one scheduled for tomorrow. It's getting bad over here. What's going on, guys? Happy Wednesday. Good morning. So, we have hit our price targets, all right? As you guys can see in the title of this video, we saw the Nasdaq hit that 13K. So we've been waiting for that to come in, all right? We hit it yesterday. We hit that 13K. 13K NQ, and then what did we hit on ES? We hit that 41.35 on ES. So price targets have hit on the futures, and that really, and I'll break down sort of why that came in. I mean, it's not just obvious, but I want to, when it hits like that, and you see the reasons why, it makes a lot of sense. So there's really just was no reason for the Nasdaq to hold or the ES to hold before 13K after breaking down that key level we talked about last week. So we'll go through, what's been going on with the Nasdaq, and why it's fallen. Obviously, there's technical and macroeconomic reasons for that, but most importantly, I'll touch on the technical reasons as to why we really didn't have any support until that 13, and now that's where we're sitting today. So some bad, do I say bad? I don't know. I don't know if I say bad on the earnings yesterday. It's tough because, I would say Google's was not great. So I did lose $100, just to let everyone know. I am red $100 before the open today because I did buy a little Google YOLO call option. I was pretty bullish on Google, so it looks like I was dead wrong. I thought their YouTube revenue was going to be pretty astonishing, but it actually missed expectations, which tells you how much people know about earnings. So if there's any any implication to not play earnings, that's it right there. Because I thought it looked to me as though YouTube was killing it on the ads, and they said that the Russia-Ukraine war is what affected that. They said They said that a lot of countries banned YouTube. Thank you, Sierra, for that information, by the way. So that's unfortunate. So gonna lose $100 there at open on my calls on Google. Obviously, I expected this, but I did want to see if Google could be the one that comes out on top. But that is not what happened. So Google moving lower. So just real quick, earnings YOLOs, never put a lot of money in them, please, guys. Like $100, I can live with the $100 loser. That's fine with me. That is something that I can work into my budget here. But putting your whole portfolio on the line on a earnings call is not advised. So you might be looking at the Nasdaq, and the NDX. I'm looking at the Nasdaq futures. So the futures they trade a little bit different than the actual NDX, the Nasdaq index. Yeah, the Nasdaq index. What is that at? I don't know. I have to look. But I look at the Nasdaq futures. That's most likely why it's different. So we had Visa earnings yesterday as well, which is good. That's good for the consumer. That is why I think Visa going up pretty nicely. MasterCard is moving up as well. I didn't check American Express today, but that's probably moving up as well. What's AXP doing? Yeah, AXP up. It's about flat. I never said it was the bottom, Dark Trader. Didn't say that. Just told you it went to 13,000. So Visa, MasterCard, very good earnings, and that's actually pretty interesting for the consumer, right? That's a win for the consumer, showing that payments have how did they term this? They termed it, what they say, transaction volume has increased. I think it was 17% year over year. So that's that just sort of tells you that people are out there spending, right? So I think that's pretty good for Visa, and we'll see how it reacts today. But up in the pre-market, pretty nice move. Still, the chart's really not showing me a reason to trade it. But good numbers there from Visa, MasterCard. We had Boeing report earnings this morning. Not great earnings for Boeing, but who expected Boeing to have good earnings, right? So pretty expected. Boeing's still in its sort of turnaround. It's going to be a tough road ahead for that company, but can't imagine they're going anywhere significantly. Boeing is a necessary company. Boeing's almost one of those companies that will just continue to be helped by the government if things get really bad. That's just, I don't know. I mean, I could be dead wrong about that. I don't know the ins and outs of Boeing, guys, so don't grill me on that. But I would assume that Boeing we can't afford Boeing to go anywhere. Unless it just gets taken over by like Airbus or whoever else makes planes. But Boeing downside off of earnings. We'll take a look at that. Take a look at some other tech names that really got crushed on some of the back of Google. So Facebook, as you guys know, Facebook's all ad revenue. Google did not have the best ad revenue numbers, and that is scary for Facebook. And you guys know what happened the last time Facebook moved lower on earnings. It killed the market. Absolutely crushed the market on the last time Facebook reported. So this is a little bit concerning. I'm very nervous to see what Facebook comes out with. Facebook, it's all in the hands of Mr. Zuckerberg again. And the last time it was in the hands of Mr. Zuckerberg, things did not go so well. So Facebook reports earnings. Let's go ahead and pull up the earnings calendar. Let's get this started. So we had Microsoft, Google yesterday, Visa, GM did well GM did well. Boeing, Spotify in the pre-market today. After hours today, Facebook, never calling it Meta. I think that's really dumb. Facebook, PayPal, Ford, Qualcomm, Pinterest, Teladoc, Hertz. I'm very interested in Hertz. I used to work at Hertz. If anyone's curious, I was the one that changed your car rental prices. I was a revenue management analyst. Yeah, I mean, this is the big one right here, guys. Meta, Facebook, whatever you want to call it. I'll call it Facebook. That is scary stuff, because if they come out and say that that ad revenue is bad, once again, like they did last time, that's going to affect the Nasdaq. Facebook is a major part of the Nasdaq. So yeah, I'm definitely a little concerned there. I'm probably just going to let it go. I'm not going to try to play it because who the hell knows what happens. I already did my earnings YOLO for the quarter, which was Alphabet, which I missed. So Meta, PayPal, Ford after hours today. I just said Meta, Facebook. Twitter, Caterpillar, Southwest, MasterCard tomorrow, pre-market, Merck, McDonald's, Eli Lilly, Altria, MO, good dividend stock right there. Apple, Amazon, Roku, Intel, Robinhood, all there. I'm going to be interested to see what Apple does, because Apple and Amazon are not so much on the ad revenue side of things, right? They don't make most of their money from ad revenue. So we're getting a little bit away from ad revenue here and getting more into like software, hardware. So Apple, Amazon, Roku, Intel, Robinhood, and then we got some energy stuff here, end of week. Exxon, Chevron, and then AbbVie Healthcare, AstraZeneca. So there's your earnings. Today is Facebook, PayPal. Those are big. PayPal's a piece of junk. At least it has been. Economic. Let's pull it up one more time just to give ourselves a reminder of what's on the economic calendar. I will not pay for your subscription. Market Watch. Wednesday. So home sales. Today, more real estate stuff. And GDP, real gross domestic product. This is going to be interesting tomorrow. Jobless claims Thursday. GDP, jobless claims Thursday, tomorrow after or 8:30 could be interesting. Got some PCE on Friday. Consumer spending, personal income, so some nice consumer stuff here tomorrow. On Friday. And then the big boy is right here. This is the big boy. FOMC, Fed Chair Jerome Powell talking about interest rates. What's the rate going to be? Is it 50? Is it a double rate hike? Is it a triple rate hike? Is it a 1% hike? What's the rate hike going to be, right? What is the rate that the target? What's the Fed funds rate target? I forgot what their target was. Shoot. What's the target, guys? Instead of me wasting my time. I think, okay, so end of 2023, they're expecting 2.8. End of 2023, they want to get to 2.8 Fed funds rate. So they got a way to go. And there's a Josh did this on his channel, so shout out to the cult. He sort of game planned how they'd have to raise per meeting to get to their target. So I'll have to refresh myself on that. But Fed funds rate, I think 2.75. Okay, I'm pretty positive that you're going to see a double rate hike this quarter, which I think the market is pricing in for the most part. So we'll see. We'll see how that all goes down. I'm not going to try to predict that. That's not really my game plan here. So futures, economic earnings calendar, Google, Microsoft, Visa earnings. We'll take a look at all of those. Take a look at what they're doing this morning. Facebook, I think, is in trouble. I could be dead wrong, but I think Facebook's in trouble after seeing Google's ad revenue. If Google didn't have good ad revenue, then I can't imagine Facebook having good ad revenue. To me, it seems like the Facebook ad revenue trend is over the hump. I don't know if you guys feel the same, but I think that the hysteria of advertising on Facebook is starting to move over the hump. I think they have hit a peak of their ad revenue. That could come back, but I think there are other attractive areas to advertise on, which I thought was YouTube and more than anything. So I could be dead wrong about all this ad revenue stuff. I probably should do a little bit more research on it, but I can't imagine Facebook doing well when Google did not do well. That would be very interesting to see if that is actually the case. Now, Facebook probably brought down their expectations quite a bit for this quarter, so if they just beat pretty crappy expectations, then maybe the stock goes up, right? There's always ways to play with numbers around earnings, right? Analysts could have low expectations. Facebook, their forward guidance was not very good last quarter. So if they're putting out bad guidance, if analysts bring down expectations and then they beat those expectations with a really crappy number, but it's higher than what was expected, maybe the stock holds up, right? Always sort of games to be played there. If Facebook is expecting to have a bad quarter, then, maybe it's already sort of priced in, right? So Facebook, we'll take a look at that. Netflix stair steps. We talked about Netflix rejecting off the previous highs or the previous lows. It did it again yesterday. Netflix died again yesterday, and Netflix could die again today. So we definitely need to look at Netflix. Every single time Netflix moves down, it moves down in a stair step pattern. It hits previous resistance or previous support, moves lower. Hits previous support, moves lower. So let's go ahead and take a look at Netflix. More Tesla downside. Want to make sure we look at Tesla. Tesla got crushed yesterday off the back of some concerns about the way he structured his deal with Twitter. I need to learn more about it, but it seems as though he sort of used his Tesla stake as a collateral in some way. I think that's probably the easiest way to explain it on the margin that he took. I probably should have got myself a little bit more educated on that, not going to lie, before I got onto this live stream. But that is my understanding. So feel free to let me know in the chat exactly the details if you know more about it than me. I'm pretty sure that he used his Tesla stake, Tesla shares, not exactly sure exactly, but used it as collateral towards this margin loan that he's taking out pretty much to buy Twitter, which I think is what is causing some concern there on Tesla. And that is why you saw that downside. So here I have the news up here. Let me see if I can. Where is it? Is that what he did? Trying to get it for you guys here. If not, I'll move on. I don't want to waste too much time on this. But that is pretty much the gist of why Tesla had a really ugly day yesterday. I think it was down 10% at one point. I don't know if it closed down 10%, but it was over 10%. So Boeing, we'll take a look at Boeing. Earnings miss. I don't think anyone should have expected Boeing to have an earnings beat because obviously airlines are still in a really tough time. I just don't like parking money in that sector right now. That's just my I know Boeing will come back at some point, but parking money in Boeing right now just doesn't seem like the best place for you to have your money. I don't think it's a bad idea. I think it's a bad idea for money management. I think your liquidity, I think your capital could be used in better places. That's basically my reason why I don't touch Boeing now, because there's really no signs of this turning around. It's like if anyone has a manual stick shift car, it's like that turnaround is going to be like sticking it in sixth gear on the highway and going full throttle, right? It's a slow acceleration. I still think that, all right, Lord, we see it, man. You don't need to write in caps like that. I just think there's better places to have your money than Boeing right now. Doesn't mean that it's not going to come back, but right now, I think you can, use your capital other places. So that's my feeling on BA. We'll look at it. We'll take a look at the chart. I'll take a look at the earnings and talk a little bit about it. Apple, I think Apple needs to drop to 150. There's really no support on Apple till 150, guys. I'll show you the chart. Oil holding strong this morning. Oil's actually green /CL. So if there's any strength out there, it could be on the energy sector today. So let's take a look at the oil sector. We did have some news about the EU. Let me pull that up. Where is it? Sorry, guys. Let me get that pulled up for you. If I could find it. I need a better spot to find all this news. All right, I'll come back to that while I find that. But yeah, some EU news on oil about them potentially banning Russian oil, and it looks like the oil sort of spiked up, sort of holding up here in the after hours. So pretty big spike yesterday, moved to the upside yesterday on /CL. We're holding that move. Yeah, Russia shut gas. Okay, so just more shutdowns of Russia oil. It seems like, which in theory would mean that prices should increase, right? Because less supply equals more demand, or less supply with the same demand should equal upside, right? If you know economics, less supply, exact same demand, prices should move up. All right, so finally, SE. I don't know if you guys remember, this was a stock that I covered like 6 months ago, maybe more. And I said SE was going to 50, and I still believe it's going to 50. Well, if you guys are looking for a bleeder, a stock that just I think is going to bleed for the rest of the year, I think SE is the one. SE is just a company that was so overvalued, really doesn't do anything groundbreaking. I don't think this stock has any chance. I think it needs to move back to 50. I'll show you why. I don't know if anyone here remembers this. I'm sure some of the OGs maybe in the Discord remember this. But SE to 50, still believe it, still sticking to my price target, and it looks like it's on the way. So SE could be a nice little short here in the future, and I'll show you guys what I'm looking at. So let's get started. Let's get this day going. Nasdaq. Let's start with NQ. All right. So daily chart on the Nasdaq. Let's get a little bit more time here. Let's go 4 years. So guys, back around the break of 13.7, I came on here and said, okay, I think we need to move back to 13,000, right? And why is that? And I'll break that down in a shorter term time frame in just a second. But we are now back to 13,000, right? We're right back to this low, and to this low. So 13,000, 13,000, and 13,000. Now, if this does not hold, right, we might get a little fake bounce off this. That's probably possible. But if that does not hold, I think this drops under 13,000 to 12.2, right? I think 12.2 is your next level right here. Previous resistance, resistance turns into support. And I think that if you drop this 13K today, if we start to weaken under 13K again, then I think you have room to 12.2. Absolutely. There's nothing really that would make me think maybe this 12.7 area from back here, maybe this 12.7 area from these lows right here could hold this up temporarily. But I think 12.2 would be the next major level of support if we see that drop through 13. Now, what did I see to make us think that we were going to 13,000 even? Let me go ahead and show you guys that. So if I zoom out here on the chart, and I will show you that when we dropped this inverse head and shoulder, there was nothing below to hold us up. This was right here. I don't know if you guys remember this day. We were looking at the hold of this wick low, right? We were looking at the hold of this support, the hold of this resistance, and the hold of this support. Now, here on the, what was that? I think that was the 21st or 22nd of April, which was early last week. We went ahead and dropped that 13.7. We turned it into resistance. You guys can see right there, we dropped it into resistance. And at that point, I said, really, guys, we do not have anything here until 13,000. And you can see it happened very, very quickly. So right down to 13, right there at that previous low. Now we are there. So what do we do now? This is when it's tough. Today is going to be a tough day because do you see any kind of sympathy off this level? Any kind of fake bounce off this level? What can we do to protect ourselves that, if we get the fake bounce, do we hold? Do we drop right through it? Well, here's what I'll tell you. Here's what I'll sort of show you, how to play this. So if we go to the 15-minute chart and we look at this over the last few days, this is really all you guys can do to sort of get an idea of what direction the next move is. All you have to do is watch the previous pivot lows and resistance levels, right? So you have a previous low here, and it turned into resistance. So what now, right? What are you looking for? If the Nasdaq does not get over 12.2 today, right? If the Nasdaq does not get over, 13.2, then it is very clear that this market will not move higher. If you see any kind of fake bounce today and it does not get over 13.2, it is going to move lower. There is no doubt about that, right? Because this is just a classic stair-stepping pattern. This is exactly what happened here. Pretty close. Not perfect, but pretty much exactly what happened here. So you guys can see we had a previous support here that turned into resistance, right? The market tried to do a fake bounce. This was yesterday where I told you guys this was nothing of importance. There was nothing here. We didn't break any levels. We didn't do anything significant. We just moved higher. Now, we moved higher and we never broke above this pivot level right here. You can see support, support. We break through it. We try to bounce. We never break over it. You are still making lower highs. Now, this morning, lower highs again. You can see right here, previous lows right here. So unprepared. All right, just get out of here, man. You don't need to be here. Previous lows, you spike up. So lazy. Here every day. That's ridiculous. It's one of the most ridiculous comments I've ever seen. Previous lows, you push higher into this resistance, you fail, and then you break down again, right? And then what do you do right here? You push back higher, and you turn the previous support into resistance. You guys can see it right there. Down, resistance, previous support into resistance, and you drop once again. Now today, what are we doing today? We push higher again. If we do not get over this 13.2, right? If we do not get over this 13.2, then there is definitely more downside to be had because you are not breaking any previous highs. You are not breaking any pivot levels. You are not making any type of significant steps in the right direction to gain upside. So if the market does not break this, if the market does not break this 13.2, you are not going to get any type of upside, right? Right here. You are not going to get anything here unless you see something like this. So if the Nasdaq is trading under 13.2 today, guys, please do not take any type of long calls that you're looking for upside on. You need to see this first. You need to see this first. This has to happen. And even this doesn't really get you out of the woods at all. Even if this does happen, right? If we zoom out and we don't have tunnel vision, there is a lot more to be had, right? You still need to do this, right? You need to make this high. Then you need to get over this one, right? You need to get over this pivot. Then you have to get over 13.8. So there's a lot here. There's a lot here to get any type of positivity on this market. There could be sympathy bounces along the way, but there are so many pivot levels, guys, above, so much resistance above that you really just need to be careful of, right? You have here, then you have this monster level at 14.3. I don't know if you guys remember that level at 14.3. So, I mean, you can see, guys, I mean, just think of it as like a weight. It's a weight that is just sitting on this market. You have to get over all of this to get any type of real price action to the upside. So right now, I would ignore any type of fake moves to the upside until something real happens. And honestly, if I had to give you my honest opinion, I wouldn't be bullish until you see a break of 14.3. Right here. I would not be bullish until you see this break. Because this break is what really is engulfing this crappy price action on the left here, right? So it's gonna be a tough side on tech, guys. It's gonna be tough. I mean, there's nothing here. The price action every day is showing weakness. The levels are showing weakness. You know, you guys can see it intraday. There's just no buyers. So you know, we have to we have to understand what's going on right now. We have to accept that this is really some weak stuff, and this is really some, just really crappy price action. So let's continue to trust, the trend. Let's continue to do what the market's wanting to do. Let's not. All right, Amar, I'm not going to explain it if you spam the chat. Right? I'm not. Why would I do that? Right? I don't get it. Okay. So there you go, guys. That's the Nasdaq 13.2. You can see right there, previous support into resistance. And if you do not get the break over the 13.2 level, you are not being bullish, right? You are not bullish if you are not over 13.2. So that's what I'd look for today, guys. And then 13,000 to the downside. If we crack 13K, look out for yesterday's lows. All right. That's the Nasdaq. Here we go. Let's go daily chart on ES. Here we go. So 41.25, you guys can see right here, 41.25 on the ES. You can see support. You can see that we're trying to hold this level. This is humongous, right? This is huge on the ES, guys. We have not seen a level, like, look to the left, right? Look to the left. There's nothing here, right? There's nothing there on the ES. We need to get more than a year of time to see anything to the left here on the ES. So after this 41.25, I mean, you have some small levels, but nothing that like stands out to me tremendously here before probably around 4,000, 39.50. Honestly. I mean, look. I mean, what are you guys charting out? I don't see much. So if we break this 41.25, guys, we don't have much until 4,050 right here. We don't have much until 39.57, 39.60. And I mean, this has just been sort of a consistent uptrend. So there's not much like strong pivot levels. The next really strong one I think would be down here at 35.4 right here, this little double top. But yeah, guys, 35. That's Marty. That's sort of what I'm looking at. This 35 right here. So that just sort of shows you the importance of this level here, guys, because if we drop this 41.25, if we drop this double bottom here on the ES, that is going to be a little bit interesting. So watch out for this today, 41.25. Let's just call it right around 4,100, really. We probably could bring it down to the psychological 4,100. That's probably where I'd bring it down to. That's this wick low right here. 4,100 on the ES is going to be a monster level. Now, let's go ahead and look at the stair steps on the ES. That is very clear as to, how do we find bullishness here? How do we get to find upside on this move? Well, it's pretty clear, right? Because you need to get over these pivot levels. Here's the first one. Let me go ahead and hold on 1 second. Okay, that's the second one. Here's the first one right here. You can see previous lows into resistance, 42.11, right around 42.10. Next, you have this high right here, 4,300, and then if you get over that, then you got this right around 43.75. So you have a lot of levels to the upside that the ES could reject, right? You could see a move like this, and then you could reject right off of it. You could do something like this, right? So we've seen this in the past when the market's in a downtrend. When the market's in a downtrend, all it really does is it tries to push back into previous support, and it turns it into resistance, right? That's a downtrend, just stair-stepping to the downside. So what would I watch today, guys? I would watch 42.10 here on the ES. If we get over that, I'd probably have a little bit of a line here around 42.50. You guys can see some of this pre-market resistance from yesterday, right around 42.50. And then after that, I would have 4,300. That's yesterday's highs. If you get a push into yesterday's highs, this is definitely an area where I do not expect a move over if we stay in this downtrend, right? So That's what I'd watch, guys. I'd watch 4210, I'd watch 4250, and 4300. Those are the levels on the ES, and it's clear it's in a downtrend, guys. Please do not, please understand that the market is in a downtrend. I would continue to trust that trend until something obvious changes. Something obvious. YM. That is the SPY. Charles, just take the first number. Just if you guys are not familiar, just take the last number off, and it's the SPY. So 4211 is 421. This is 425.3. This is 430 on the SPY. So just take that last number off. 430, 425, and 421. You can see. I mean, just look at how this is happening right here, guys. I mean, this is just live example for you. Look at why did the market reject here, right? This isn't just some type of black magic, and we're like, oh, well, I don't know why did the market reject here at 42.10? Well, this is why. It's right here, right? Previous support into resistance, and it's turning into resistance again. So this is just very consistent with a downtrend. Previous support turning into resistance. YM is trying its best to hold on to 33,000. We'll see if it does. We talked about this 33,000 level. I need to start getting more time on these. Let me change this time frame now. Time frames. We'll have to customize the list. Let's change this to 3 year 1 day. Sure, why not? Let's add that. Okay. So 3 year 1 day. That's what we need. Not weekly. 3 year 1 day. Okay. Right here, guys. Dow is trying to hold 33,000. That's really all I can tell you. If you break 33, you're probably moving down to the 32s. So just watch out for 33,000 on the Dow, guys. And then the Russell. This is interesting. This could really affect. Yeah, I mean, that's all it is. Predicted trades. I mean, you got to keep it simple, right? Keep it simple. Just normal technical analysis. That's really all you need. Just got to learn how to sort of spot it. So support. Look at what the Russell's doing this morning, guys. This is not good for the Russell. This is really not good for the Russell here. What level is it starting to reject this morning? 1900. Previous support. A little bit of consolidation. Break down. Turn it into resistance, right? That is not good for the Russell in any means. You guys can see this was a very previous, important previous support at 19. And what is it doing this morning? It is turning it into resistance, literally on the dot. So this is not good for the Russell. And if you guys want to trade this, you trade the IWM. Look at what the IWM is doing this morning. Who's Russell? Right here, look at this. Support, breakdown, resistance. This should, in theory, if technicals are, if they work here, this should at least retest these lows. And if it breaks those lows, it's going to continue to the downside. That's the theory behind it, right? Doesn't mean it has to happen. All right. So to sort of game plan this for you guys, everything's weak. Everything is still weak. There's no strength on any of the futures contracts. Everything's in a downtrend. Everything's making lower lows, lower highs. Everything is creating previous support into resistance. And until that changes, you have to trust this trend. Until we get a clear day that everything is, we're making higher highs, higher lows. We got some strength. We got some volume. That is not happening. You have to continue to look to the downside. I'm going to say it because I need to push that into my brain, right? That is what is the right thing to do here. So let's continue to look for the downside where it comes in. Just because you look for downside doesn't mean you make stupid trades, right? There's a difference there. There's, downside and just chasing downside. These are two different things, guys. You have to wait for some kind of entry. You need to wait for a fake bounce. Wait for a push into previous resistance. Wait for some kind of a really quick move to the upside that starts to fail, right? You don't just take puts at open because, it's in a downtrend. You can still lose intraday doing that because there could be some intraday pops. Wait for your entries, Wait for the fake moves. Wait for pushes into previous supply, and then take your place. All right, Google. So Google, not good off earnings, right? Google, not great. Down, really doing nothing. Not a good earnings report for Google. I probably can pull up the numbers, even though I'm not really that interested in just going over the numbers here. I'd rather go over the technicals, but I'm pretty sure they missed across the board. Let me pull it up. So we'll quickly look at the highlights of Google's earnings, and that is right here. Why is it CNBC not have it up? Okay, let's start with Microsoft here actually, because I got Microsoft. So Microsoft actually had a pretty good quarter. Microsoft earnings beat across the board, up and down, or I'm sorry, top and bottom line. So they plan in a quarter to buy Activision. So yeah, they announced that already to buy Activision. 2.2 versus 2.19, so beat on the top, and then about a little beat on the bottom as well. Revenue increased 18% year over year. And then, their Azure, this is their cloud business, jumped 46% in the quarter, which is good. A lot of eyes are on the Azure platform right here. So that's good for them as well. So good earnings for Microsoft. And that stock actually sort of held up. You guys can see right here. Nice little pop. Really didn't do anything. Expected move, I think, was... it's not going to show me now. Oh, was it 17? Yeah, I think it was 17. So Microsoft expected move was 17. So this needed to get to 287. It needed to hold above. Look, it's funny because this is right where the expected move was, guys. And look at where it rejected. All right, that just shows you how much the market is against you right there. This needed to. This is where Microsoft needed to get above for call options to increase. Right here, right at 287. I mean, literally right where it rejected. And then that is where the stock ended up coming down from. So very interesting how that happens. I don't think that's a coincidence by any means, just to let everyone know. And you can see that is where the market has sold this off from the expected move, the peak of the expected move. So both sides are hit here, calls and puts. Both sides are losing money. This is when iron condors are the best strategy, because iron condors make money as long as it stays within the expected move, and that is what it did. So Microsoft, a little bit here, nothing that I think is going to help the market at all, though. I mean, this is not, this is a really muted move here on Microsoft. I mean, it's up 3%, and I don't think that's going to help much. So today on Microsoft, the only thing that I like about Microsoft, maybe for long-term shares, because it did report good earnings, the company's still doing well, and if you like shares, I would, it's something that I would consider. I'll always add Microsoft, but you are holding a pretty key level here at 270. I will say that. That's the only thing that I'm interested about Microsoft, is the hold here at 270. You guys can see right here, we are holding 270. So watch out for 270. That's the big level on Microsoft. If you break 270, then I think you're going to find some downside. Google. So Google, not great earnings, a miss on the top and the bottom. And you guys can see the reaction was not great. And Google is in a very scary place, I will say. I will say that Google's in a little bit of a dangerous place here. Charles, thank you, man. Appreciate that. I appreciate that. So you guys can see Google's is a scary place right now. You wanted to see Google hold above this level here, and it did not. So you can see we had the knife right through. What year is my Audi? It's a 2021. So you can see a push under that 2,500, knife right through it. A little bit of consolidation here now. Down a little bit further off earnings, 2276. Which is right down here. Not good. This is really where Google's trading right now, just to let everyone know. 2276. Let me go 4 hour. You can see it better. So let's go 4 hour. Let's get more time. So there you go. Here's the 4 hour. Here's where it's actually trading. right down here. What's the next level to watch out for? I would watch these lows here where it's bouncing off of, and then these previous resistance levels here. So right here, previous lows right around 22.30. That's where it's trying to hold. And then the next level is 21.25 on Google. So watch out for these levels on Google, guys. Google's weak. Tough earnings. If Nasdaq's weak today, I would expect Google to move down as well. Watch 22.30 and 21.25. Those are my two levels that I would watch for your Google today. If you find any upside on Google, it is most definitely going to reject right here. Right? If you get any type of upside, unless it's some really major strength on Nasdaq, it is most likely going to reject the 25, right? Why? Because that is a previous support that will most likely turn into resistance. You can see support, 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 push back into it, resistance, resistance, and then you get your slip. That's what I would expect if you see some type of crazy bounce on Google. Probably not today, but I'm saying, in the near future. Visa. So Visa actually had good earnings, guys, which is cool to see. I mean, it's nice to see at least someone having good earnings, right? So they reported a EPS of 1.79. They have a lot of price target increases this morning. Price target increase from we actually got an adjustment, not an increase. Okay, so I read that wrong. Okay, so you have price target adjustments from Morgan Stanley to 279 from 283, and then you have a Citigroup price adjustment to 265 from 285. So they actually brought their price targets lower. Visa beat top, beat bottom. Payment volumes up 17%. So it's a good. I'd have to learn. I want to sort of read a little bit more into what they said specifically, but it's a good quarter for Visa with payment volumes. You can see as we speak right now, it is making new highs up to 214. So 214 on Visa, starting to push higher. The next level that I would watch out for on Visa is 220, guys. That is probably where Visa starts to reject. Right here around this 220 level. The last time it rejected right here at 220, you maybe, if there's some really brute strength, you get up to 230. But this is the reason why I said in the beginning of the live stream that I wouldn't trade Visa, because just look at this chart, guys. This is not a chart that I like to trade, right? This is very volatile and very choppy. So you are trading up to 214 right now, which is really nothing, spectacular. You can see we're trading like right here at 214. So if you look at this chart and you look at where we're trading, there's really nothing there that gets me that excited. So if I zoom out, you can see, great, Visa had good earnings, but are you getting involved in this mess? I'm not, and I would recommend you not either. Okay, Facebook. I think Facebook's in trouble, guys. I think this is a little bit concerning for FB. So you had previous lows here, right? You had previous lows here that clearly broke down, right? We talked about this in a previous live stream. I'll go over spot in a second, Dennis. 1 sec. So you guys can see we had a previous low that turned into resistance right here. Previous low, we broke down, we retested it, we turned it into resistance. Very ugly for Facebook. Dropping significantly off the back of Google. You can see right here. Look at this reaction off Google's earnings. This is just because of Google's earnings, and you are starting to slip lower. Now, in the short term, what is Google doing? That shows me even more weakness. What is Google doing that makes me confident that there could be more downside? I'll show you right now. So, you can see right here, it's not perfect, but it's pretty spot on. If we look at this in the short term, let's go to the 5-minute. You can see that in the 5-minute chart, we are creating lower highs and lower lows. Right here, you can see that Facebook could not get back into this previous support. It tried to bounce into it, started to reject, and you can see we are now moving lower. Now, what happens next? If we break these lows, then you move down, you probably try to bounce into this, and you do the same thing over again. This is a downtrend, this is a stair step. So you can see we have these two levels. right here, 180 and 172. Facebook tried to push up into 180. It did not. It failed right here. Pushed into it, failed, and moving lower. Now, if this breaks 172 and it tries to retest it and turn it into resistance, this is your short point right there. Right there. So watch out for that. I think Facebook earnings can't be that good if Google's was bad. And then finally, I want to show you one last thing on Facebook. The next support level that I would even consider on Facebook would be the lows of this candle here, which is 173.09. So let's just call it 173. Right there, right around 173. And if it breaks 173, guys, you already know where we're going. COVID lows. If it breaks 173, you could see COVID lows off earnings. So watch out for that. If we go to the 5-minute chart, right, you guys can see this previous low at 173. I'm going to show you where is Facebook bouncing off of. It's not a surprise. Where did Facebook bounce off of yesterday? See this? See this green box? Where's that green box come from? Comes from right here. This low. This low, this green box, if you move it over, where does it end up? It ends up right here, 173. If we go to the 1-minute chart, where did Facebook bounce off last night? 173. So, if you break this 173 on Facebook, it is, I think, going to get pretty ugly here. So I would watch out for Facebook under this 173. Wait for it to do a little retest and see if you can play that to the downside. Remember, there is earnings, so that is dangerous. Okay, next, Netflix. Netflix has been making a stair-stepping pattern like I've never seen before. I mean, this is just making the cleanest stair steps ever. Look at this. I mean, it almost looks like stairs. It really looks like stairs to me. Look at that. Look how clean this is. So I don't know if you guys remember this 210 area from yesterday. I said if Netflix cannot get over 210, we are going down. Look at what Netflix did right at open. Into 210, rejection. It tried to get over this pivot low. Intraday did not. Rejection. It tried to get over this pivot low in the pre-market today. It did not. Rejection. And what is it going to do next? If you just look at the technicals, it's going to do this. If we just look at the technicals, this is what Netflix should do. This, and this. All right? It's done it 1, 2, 3, and potentially 4 times. This is a stair-stepping pattern. Stair step. Stair step. Right there. We're going down the stairs. Going down the stairs. And we're going to go down the stairs again. Right? So this is just really clean stuff here on Netflix. Watch 200 for resistance. Watch 194 for support. Okay? Tesla. Does Tesla go down further? So Tesla's interesting. Tesla broke a lot of levels Tesla broke a lot of really important levels yesterday. So I am not someone that thinks that this can't continue. I definitely think this can continue. When Tesla starts to get going to the downside, there usually is some continuation. So I'd watch out for this. I mean, you have this huge level that broke. You have this level that broke, which is right around 945. This got smashed right through like it wasn't even there yesterday. And then you got smashed right through this level like it wasn't even there yesterday, which was 886. And you are now trading at 881. So what do I think this can move down to? I really believe that if you get weakness on this market, you could see Tesla down here to 760. I really do. I know it's a little bearish, but you really don't see much here until this level. I mean, you can see previous resistance. This is where you had a little bit of resistance as well. This is where the breakout occurred. This is where we came back and retested the 760. If we don't find anything here, There is nothing in this area. There is nothing in this area to hold this up until 760. There really isn't. So if the Nasdaq continues to be weak, I wouldn't expect there to be support in this area. This was a straight up move. This was a lot of chop. This is no structure, right? There's not much structure being built here. It seems to me as though this could be a little bit of a free fall in this area. So I'm definitely going to be cautious. I'm going to try to jump on it if I see more downside, for sure, to the downside for some puts. So just be aware, guys. We broke a lot of major levels yesterday. If I zoom in here, I'll show you some of these levels. So the first one, I'll clean it up. The first one was right here, right? This was the lows that it was holding. You guys can see right there. And look at that knife right through it, right under 973. The next one was right here at 945. We can see we tried to hold it, or we didn't. We probably intraday we tried to. We did not. Next one, this low, right here at 887. Boom, right through it. We're not holding it. So we broke through like 3 crucial levels here. And I would be thinking that you sort of get into this zone here. Right in here is where I think you're going to start trading, in this zone. So watch out for Tesla, guys. There might be some sympathy, of course, right? There's always a possibility of some push to the upside, some sympathy to the upside. There's probably a reason for Tesla to maybe push into, if we go into the 5-minute chart here, there's probably some, maybe some push into these pre-market highs, right at 906. There's probably a potential for this to push up to 944, right? You can always see these pushes, right? These little sympathy bounces. But if it starts to reject any of these levels, then I would say, look for that downside still. Boeing, looks like we're going to run out of time here today. Looks like I took too much time on the futures. But Boeing, bad earnings this morning. And it just rejected that level. I mean, all I'm going to really note on, guys, is that it just continues to do sort of that stair-stepping downside move. You can see right here, we talked about this 188 level. I don't know if you guys remember. 188, we had previous support. It turned into resistance, and you can see the rejection that came here. This morning, we're down to 160 off earnings. So right here, 160 off earnings. If we grab the weekly time frame, we can see that I could see this if Boeing does not hold at these current levels. You could see maybe you're at the 160s now. So I mean, you could definitely see this 140. This 143 is sort of that level that I would watch. 143 on BA is where I'd watch. Right? You have that previous support here. You have the support here. You have some, this is where it bounced off of. I would maybe, if there's more weakness today, I would look for maybe something off 143 here. Okay. Apple. Yeah, guys, I think Apple needs to move to 150. If I go to the daily chart, you guys can see we're just sort of in this range. And why would Apple not move to 150? That's really all I could say. You guys can see right here, previous support or previous resistance into support. I don't think Apple holds up until 150 right here. I think you get this. So let's look for 150 on Apple, guys. That's what I would look for. Oil /CL. You guys can see oil continues to hold in this wedge. Look at this little flag that it's creating. You can see right here. Pretty clean little flag that oil's been sitting in. All right, you guys can see just sort of consolidating to the nice bottom around 95. If this continues to hold, I would watch stocks like CVX. I would watch stocks like XOM. I would watch Oxy. I would watch USO. Right? Keep an eye on these oil names. USO actually had a very nice bounce. Remember we talked about this? That's pretty nice. So right there, 72. Pretty nice at USO. So watch out for these energy names today, guys. SE, finally, this is my, the one that I think needs to keep moving lower. I do not see any reason for SE to hold up until 52. I talked about this previously. You guys can see, look at this move. There is no structure to this move. It is literally straight up. So I think you are just going to see basically this go up, and it come right back down. So I think 52 is where SC is heading. That is what I would look for. And you broke a low yesterday. You broke this pivot low yesterday. I could see this starting to move lower to 52. That's what I would look for. All right. That's what I had. Actually, let me go over spot real quick because that had earnings. And I'll show you guys. Yeah, this is not good for spot. Sorry to break it to you. This is, oh, that's IPO. Oh boy. Yeah. Ouch. Let's look here. Lows of 103.29. Oh, we're at it now. We are at it now. Yeah, guys, I mean, I would just watch out for the break of IPO lows. That could get a little aggressive under that. Watch out for the break of IPO lows. 103.29. You're sitting at it right now. Look at this. You're right there. You're right at IPO lows on spot. So that's a little dangerous. I would watch out for that. 103.29 on spot, IPO lows. Okay, I'm gonna quickly see if I can squeeze in a little bit of what you guys have on the Google Docs, and then we're gonna get out of here. If you guys could press the like button for me, that would be great. That would be, that would really help me out. Press the like button, subscribe to the channel, guys, if you enjoy. Let's quickly run over. We're gonna do real quick speed round. AMD weakness. Downside with chip stocks. Chip stocks they're terrible right now. There's no strength on chip. If Nasdaq chip diamond, if Nasdaq continues lower, 73 is where I'd look for AMD right here. 73 on AMD. That's where I'd look for it. If the Nasdaq continues weak, I'd look for 73. We're going speed round just to let everyone know. Ford, no reason to look for upside here. Yeah, it's just in a big downtrend. Just follow this trend. Follow this trend on Ford. It's just grinding lower. Maybe see if there's a fake bounce. I would short into it. PFE. PFE's got some nice support here. You guys can see right around this 846. That needs to hold. But then you can also see a lot of resistance above. So you are in a channel on PFE. You can see right here. You are channel trading on PFE. You have previous resistance, support, support, support. And if you push into this, you're probably going to reject. You're probably going to continue to trade in that channel. PFE. Boeing, we went over. Mattel. Yeah, Mattel sort of holding up. It needs to hold this retest right here. Sort of in this level here, right around 22. You got to hold that retest. If that doesn't hold, you're probably just going to continue to trade in this larger channel. Maybe between 19 and 22. Okay. MSTR. This is Bitcoin, right? MicroStrategy. I don't cover Bitcoin. I don't trade Bitcoin. I don't look at Bitcoin. I haven't looked at a Bitcoin chart in probably over a year, so I don't know anything about Bitcoin. I don't get involved in that. Watch out for that bear flag. That's an ugly bear flag. If that bear flag breaks, you're moving lower. MU, yeah, no support below 65, 75. Totally agree with you. If you break this low here on MU, there is no support. Totally agree until 60. Absolutely correct. Right there. Oh, sorry. If it's up in the pre-market, I just missed it. Mattel, yeah. So right here, guys, MU, if you're under 66, right around there, then I don't see much support until 60. Finally, before we go, Costco. What did I tell you about Costco, guys? If it rejects 570, you're moving lower. This was a retest level that has broken. It is no longer valid. It's going to move lower. The retest level is not valid anymore, right? You have the next level here at 530. I think you moved to 530 on Costco. You needed to hold 570. You did not. Right here, guys, look at this. It tried to get back above 570 and it failed. Tried to get back above 570. It failed. It failed the retest level. It turned it into a downside resistance. You can see it right here. Support. You had the break, the retest, and the bounce. Now, it has gone below the retest level and is now turning it into resistance. That is downside. That is bearish. So I would look for cost to the downside. Unless it gets back over 570. 570 is the key level. All right, guys. I'm out of here. Thank you for being here. Thanks for supporting the channel. Press the like button. Help me get to 50,000 subscribers. That would be awesome. Let your friends know. Let your parents know. Let your girlfriend know. Your boyfriend know. Let your dog know. Let everyone know. Shout out to the cult. Shout out to MSI for sponsoring the streams. Shout out to Epic Desk for creating this sweet desk mat. Who else can I shout out to? Shout out to the Discord members that hold it down every day. Absolutely awesome community. If you guys want to come hang out, feel free. Link is down below. And shout out to you guys that come to the live streams. I appreciate all of you. Press the like button, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.